Good morning, good evening, you gorgeous, glorious, beautiful human pods. If you are watching this, you are the resistance. No, I'm just kidding. That's an homage to Terminator. There's so many things going on in this world, right? I'm gonna start and own that I can get so absorbed in my feelings and in the bitterness and trying to fight it and failing, and then just doing better. I mean, the ways that sometimes I speak on things, I get it. I'm perceived as angry, and perhaps it's because I should, in fact, take some deep breaths before speaking on it, and so many talks for other days. Trigger warnings, cognitive dissonance will occur. That is when essentially your reality is challenged. And this is why a lot of times it's very difficult for some to incorporate new beliefs. So, permit me to change your life. Now, I do need to give you some spoilers. There are no magic pills. There is no get rich quick scheme. I'm not going to ask you for money. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just going to talk to you about some things I do. That's what I do. I seem to have this weird ability to see the connectedness and everything, but I have this big mouth and this lack of patience sometimes, and I can only speak on one thing at a time instead of the everythingness of it all. And see, I almost said, I don't even know what I almost said because, we mess up sometimes. We are less than graceful, yada yada. And in order to be forgiving, in order to, exemplify all of the traits that I want to see more of in the world, I actively challenge myself to personify them. I mean, personal power talks for other days. I have come to observe that's how we claim that, reclaim that. It's in our authenticity, just again, the everythingness, because you can only do so much at certain times. Ooh, throat chakra is constricted. It's like the universe is like, stop it. The darkness is trying to stop me. No. So many talks for so many days. I often joke, if it's not apparent, I don't have any Anglo or colonial ancestry in me, and identity, and so much learning about my ethnicities, my ancestry as an American, even through that lens of, colonialism and whitewashing. Again, it's hard, excuse me, because when I say things like white people or just what have you, I don't mean people presenting in a paler stature. It's when we open ourselves up, you know, we open ourselves up to projection, and that is just the most interesting thing. We are mirrors and we don't even realize it. And so this is the catalyst for this video. I'm just going to speak on some things because I'm not even necessarily trying to change your heart or your mind. I just am going to use this opportunity, this gift, this lens of my perception, my experience to help heal, what have you. Gosh, just all of it. So many opinions, so many experiences, existence, art, life, everything all at once, right? And we get it. We do, each and every one of us. There is this beautiful story of creation that Creator, God, Source looked at itself in the universe of the cosmos, because again, Creator, and was just so enamored and said, how can I just expand this phantasm of everythingness? Light source, the pleroma. Do your own research, kids. Again, especially because it will mean to you what it means to you. We are in the driver's seat, and we'll get to that. So, Creator was looking at itself in the mirror, and then, in just a fit of delighted madness or inspiration, smashed the mirror into infinite pieces and released it. And thus, the universe, the earth, all of the galaxies that are known to us in our humanity, as that is part of our work and what we chose to do to come and know it individually, singleized in the human experience, um, you know, it expanded into the universe and the cosmos and what we're known as. And that's why deep down we have this ability to resonate with all sorts of things. Just the concepts, that which we like, that which we don't. We are actually recognizing the creator spark, the all spark, if you will, in all of it. And the human work, because, the three humanities, psychology, philosophy, and biology, have deduced that, and not even getting into physics and all sorts of other, of the human recognized ideas and arts and concepts that we understand in the compartmentalization, um, it's all deduced that it's an individualized co-creative experience. I am a gigantic nerd. So interestingly enough, I don't think I'm smarter than anyone. I don't think I'm better than anyone. Again, we're mirrors. We bring out each other's just feelings, and I happen to be an incredibly strong one. The ways that people will sometimes in my meanings, they're able to assume and take from it. And again, we all have to be responsible. In fact, we are creating, that's part of the magic and the power. And I need to focus everything all at once. Um, that is so much of how we are making the things what they are, not only to us, but to other people. In our ability to reconcile that, to understand that, to accept responsibility, to not get triggered, to want to be humble enough to be like, well, it's not just on me. So many talks for so many days, because this comes into knowing yourself, emotionally regulating, just all of it. Um, and the tools were not readily available to me. I come from a background of incredible trauma, and this is not to dump or to have anybody feel bad for me, because I think sometimes that might be part of the problem if one wants to identify it as such. But one of the ways that we are keeping ourselves connected and identifying to the pain and the burden and the struggle. And, it's so interesting because sometimes when I am triggering people as a mirror or just in the ways that maybe they're perceiving my message, if they knew more of my background and my story, again, I don't think people are inherently bad as much as we want to. I don't even want to say want, as much as sometimes it is just very easy for us because of our own pain to continue to believe these things. It's easy to see these things. And it's kind of a reminder of our own shadows. And some of us just aren't ready or don't want to take that responsibility. I do believe that we want to identify as like victims and just all of these things, but talks for other days. My famous catchphrase, if you will, because I need to focus. But that being said, I've been sexually assaulted more than a few times, unfortunately. And the first time was as a very, very small child. Funnily enough, before I could actually continue to verbally communicate. And I don't want to unpack too much because I don't want to trigger anybody. But essentially, as a very small child, had some diaper rash issues just repeatedly, would cry, was very uncomfortable, and with dolls, and was given a choice, very specific dolls. At least this is what was relayed to me, as I don't remember, but taking it on faith, which is funny because I do sometimes think we do need to question our elders, but there are certain things in me that I'm not going to unpack deeply, but it stands to reason. Certain patterns that I've worked to have to become aware of, and if I chose to take responsibility for my views, my actions, my choices, etc., just part of the healing process. No right or wrong way. I have found that we're all getting to where we need to get to. It's just a matter of how it comes into our awareness. And so much of my work has been about trying to be okay with other people on their path, but also trying to love unconditionally and try to bring things to people's attention. Just wheeled medicine, all of it. It's all right, so to speak, even if it isn't right for me, and even if it seems wrong. And it's a matter of reclaiming my power and my agency. Um, you know, so many things. Like, we all want to say it's not okay to murder. And yet, whether you eat plants or whether you eat animals, you're murdering. And we want to absolve ourselves. And it's just not possible. And I wonder if perhaps we were to, instead of like focusing on the beef of what is more violent, because both science is catching up and deducing contribute to their own ecosystems, and they have contributions in such valuable ways. They also have various, defense mechanisms. And just, if we focus on perhaps the sanctity and appreciation of the life that is nourishing us, as opposed to trying to demonize and pathologize another, we might see that we are trying to create the monsters. Am I saying that everybody should be murdered? No, in fact, quite the opposite. But do we need to murder murderers? Can we work to restrain murderers and, house murderers like we do? And perhaps even study and learn. Because, again, I mentioned the sexual assault, and especially as a child, I find, and perhaps it's just me, even the ways that like we have to catch a pedophile sting and whatnot. And I don't advocate for pedophiles. And it's funny, one time when trying to speak to a local organization that does like the pedophiles, the anti-pedophile stings, I just happened to advocate because it affected me very directly. I had a partner, and one of their colleagues got busted on one of those. And it's not that I was trying to say what this person was doing was okay. I was just trying to bring a little bit of levity. And this person was also a father and to a newborn child, and just trying to remind of the humanity, if that makes sense. So I spoke to how I couldn't help but notice how, first and foremost, this person, while needing to perhaps be evaluated, monitored, learned from, not necessarily a free range chicken, if you will, but how perhaps this person, well, first and foremost, how this person was actually technically targeted by an adult and preying on their sickness. And I don't know if it's because in my own healing process, in trying to, again, be grateful, because a lot of times, I won't say victims, although, if you know what, yes, I will. If you want to identify as a victim of assault, that is absolutely right. I choose to identify as a survivor of assault. So I will say that as a survivor of assault, to do the research and to know how so many people, and I might release some tears of my own, I might feel some feelings, and I apologize if this makes anybody uncomfortable or challenges anybody to sit with their abilities. This is something I used to be uncomfortable with sometimes, especially if people can go on and on. But it's important to feel our feelings and be safe spaces for each other. I come from generations of familial sexual assault. Um, my father and my grandmother, who are both now passed, my grandmother was a raging alcoholic, and alcoholism runs in my family. There is sexual abuse that occurred from other cousins of mine with me, and I won't even. It's not. I don't want to dox anybody because, again, victims tend to normalize these things. Survivors, they normalize these behaviors. But my grandmother was an alcoholic, and she ended up, again, according to my father, she used to go, and she's very promiscuous, so much trauma and pain, and I can't know why. But she would sleep around in bars. She was not faithful to my grandfather. And my father, one time, I guess, well, I only know of the one time that he spoke of, was actually beaten badly and trying to drag her out of a bar because he broke up an interaction. And the memories might have transposed, or it might have been part of the story. he was then actually sexually assaulted by his own mother. And it definitely led to its own healing issues because my father was a wonderful man. And funnily enough, people that like went to primary school, elementary school with me, like my father would go work 2 jobs and then he would come and do activities with us. He would volunteer on our lunch breaks. My father was addicted to cocaine and he was an alcoholic and he was physically and emotionally abusive, amongst other things. And as I would potentially see and identify, these are the words that are used. And this is not to demonize because he was a great man, but it started a lot of healing for me. And I don't demonize him for this. And I wouldn't want to begrudge him. This is just to share a bit of what I'm speaking with to, again, I don't want to garner sympathy. This isn't for fans. Like, I'm never going to ask you to like, subscribe, or share. I don't agree with that. Not that I don't agree that it isn't helpful. That's how these messages and these videos and these things are shared. That's how we relate. That's how we should support. I just find that like asking for things, it's not that we shouldn't ask for help either. It's that I don't want to use you. I'm not doing this for anything other than I'm human. We're human. To remind us all, we all bleed red. And we are alive and we deserve love. And I feel like sharing some of myself to try and normalize these things, to try and have these conversations to fosterize. Sheesh, I make up my own words. And believe it or not, I've studied communication. Talks for other days. I'm trying to not say that. It's a tick, funnily enough, instead of trying to say like, and failing. But just in connecting, communicating, no shame, no stigma. These are human behaviors, and we have to stop demonizing and pathologizing and weaponizing these words, especially because I have suffered abusive dynamics, and I have definitely, unfortunately, been abusive in dynamics in the process of healing. And I believe that it's all love. And it's hard to see sometimes, like Hitler, that darn booger sugar. He was known to be a cokehead, and like I believe the Nazis were on meth too. And I don't ride for the Nazis. I don't think that's okay. But again, tolerance, understanding. It's important to remember that like Hitler loved his country. Hitler loved the German people. Hitler got incredibly paranoid and scared and like run by his fear to forget that like a pure race, etc. That as much as we think that sometimes, versatility, variety, bridges, the things that help connect, we actually need differences. It's the understanding. If we want to take it to like faith based, um, most of the religions, like, oh yeah, I've been hit by a car. I allegedly, from the old folk, have died a few times, been resuscitated through asthma attacks. So I'm brain damaged as all get up. And also because of the ways that it presents, just what have you. Sometimes it's very interesting the way that we can trigger people, and yet, gosh, let me be walking very quickly and forget what I'm doing, and then I just will stop, and I might drop things. You will see the dyspraxic side of me if I'm reading too quickly. My ADHD and dyslexia, just all of it. So anyway, no sympathy, just none of it. Sharing. We're all so much more alike than we realize. And I think that when we are frustrated or triggered or tolerated in things, I think, heck, I've come to observe that, oh, and don't be fooled, me trying to not swear. This is just, actually, I swear a lot. I'm just working truly at a place of being at peace. Um, and trying to resonate that, you know, to just help other people kind of identify with what that might be, how it could be perceived, and whatnot. But I'm sorry, I got a notification on my phone and I got distracted and just all of it, the everythingness. So, longest introduction ever because I have not even gotten to the meat and potatoes. that is just me kind of speaking to a bit of my ethos. Lots of trauma, just all of it. And I get so many comments. It's crazy just sometimes being that mirror. Like the internet bullying, just people experiencing their feelings. And again, it's hard sometimes to not want to just scream at everybody because people would just be like, oh, yeah, snort some more ketamine, hippie. Oh, this person thinks that like they know all of it. They think there's some weird guru, blah, blah, blah. Just all of it. I'm whatever you say I am because that's how you identify. I once have identified it as a bunch of things just in my journey. I've been identified as all sorts of things, as the Buddha, Jesus, all of the greats in my humble, but as so many people would tell you, not so humble opinion. And I'll tell you, sometimes it's not so humble opinion. I worry I might be a megalomaniac. You know, just by the way, I am. That's what I was going to say. I am all of it, everything. Um, uh, just lost my train of thought because I'm getting too sideways, and I should probably wrap it up or get back on topic anyway. Just the everythingness. I used to identify with everything, but as I continue on this path, I see we identify with what we're resonating with, and it can be whatever we choose if we remember that. Be you not a person of faith, be you a person of science. Everything is vibratory atoms. It's everything vibrating at different speeds. And that is so neat to me. Except when you sort of think by design that, like the human brain, Einstein, E equals mc squared, the light always moving forward, everything expanding, everything is always moving frequently, right? And so our brain is sort of by design kind of dumb. Like, I say this with love, guys, because, it's okay to be dumb. Dumb on so many levels. People will tell you, I think I'm a know it all. I was going to joke that I thought I was a megalomaniac, and that came back to me. I talk about being a narcissist, just talks for other days. The ways I've had to love myself and just be so complete and rocking and vibing alone. But again, it's a party. It allows me to get to be here and relate to you guys and to love myself and to engage with people in real life. As many horror stories as they are, I tell you, I like to believe random strangers can tell you wonderful things too. Um, so yeah, just the all of it. There's no magic pill. But that it does bring us to our conclusion. If you want to change the world, be it for the good, the bad, all of it, it really isn't changing yourself. And think about it, like literally. Oh, everything is moving forward, brain dumbing us down, all of it, but you're smart and that's okay. Um, if you want to change the world, change yourself. Hardest, most easy thing in the world, though, think about it. It is as simple as becoming aware of what you don't necessarily care for and doing things different. But it takes a minute to start enjoying the pattern. Science has a word for that. It's you're just kind of dopamine hacking. Science has an observation for that too, though. You're also depleting your dopamine, your serotonin for a minute when you're going through a withdrawal of anything, as in removing things that you don't necessarily like, or excuse me, removing things you do enjoy. You're going to get a crash for a little bit, but it's also about replacing it, just experimenting, finding different things that bring you joy. And it can be anything, just movement, singing. I highly encourage just singing and dancing and starting off alone in your room because I swear to you, everybody can vibe and move and everybody can sing. You might be like, girl, you just literally did something, so what about us? What about all the times you said you had the answers? I don't have all of the answers. I know it works for me. And some of my work, again, is reminding myself often when I want to pipe in and like kind of what I'm unironically doing right now. But you gotta, when in Rome, when I want to tell people what to do or as an outside observer, because I think I know what's gonna help or what is better, air quotes, whatever that is, going to save them trouble. Just what, mind you, just funnily enough, love. It's all love. Are we distorting it and targeting a certain group of people? I can do that. And then I think I'm not like, like Hitler because I'm not riding for extermination, but I might be targeting a fandom or something. And oh my gosh, if you look at some of my other videos, the ways that I come for certain fans or what have you, and I do need to apologize. I beg your pardon for anyone that feels judged or attacked. You know, even certain artists that they do not appeal to my taste. I am speaking to some of the shadow that I am observing from my place. I'm using my own shadow, you know, because we all rise and fall. We're all interconnected by each other, whether we are directly affected or not. Again, science or faith, butterfly effect. The butterfly flapping its wing is affecting the currents. You know, every time you are Googling something, the data centers versus just readily sharing our knowledge. But I get it because everything is monetized. What you do, you don't do for free, right? Says who? I don't know. I don't work because I'm good at it. I work because I need dollar bucks to eat and to help empower my brothers and sisters and all that. So I personally have found a way to feel purposeful in my work. It took me a very long time. Certain people might have identified me as like a protest quitter or just what have you, but it was about finding a workplace that either way heard me enough to um, allow me my authenticity and either just getting to be that person. Who knows? All of it, you know, bit by bit. No magic pill, just continuing to use my voice, find myself. And sometimes that means kind of walking away from the crowd, from all of it. Silence, stillness, just knowing who you are and what you're about, what's important to you. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind either. We change every day. Gosh, people in my past from 8 or 9 years ago would actually tell you that I was like pro capital punishment, funnily enough. And now, again, people, we're the Quaaludes, hippie. I wish. That's something I think about a lot, to be honest with you. We don't have crack cocaine, Quaaludes, or lobotomies anymore. And we are finding ways to just make our brains silly. And I don't mean this meanly, but again, AI generation, the movies, the way we pander to celebrities and all of the clothing and all of it. Like, we're just like drilling holes in our brain. And I understand. We're like running away from our feelings and because life, but I don't know. There's something in it. Every time that you like challenge yourself and you learn new ways and you breathe through it and you sit with it, like it's just, again, the biohacking. It's not easy. It's sort of like weight gaining or strength training, you know, or any new skill, anything that you're acquiring when you're learning, crawling to walk. It's not always fun. It's not always easy, but as you get better on it, you really, really enjoy it. Well, some things, but if I haven't connected the dots, you know, you can you can learn to enjoy it. And I would know. My growing up as a child from people close to me, I've had to turn my back on so many things because people want to put you in their boxes versus me finding my own way. What I was going to say to that is people used to say I was a picky eater. I didn't like vegetables. Now, to be fair, once upon a time, I did let an entire bowl of canned corn, peas, and green beans rot in a fridge. And I love those each now, to be honest. And I would have, but what I'm getting to is I wasn't a picky eater. I just, unfortunately, even as a small child, being the wackadoo that I am, I just sort of outed people's, and by people I mean like the adults and other people's ability to kind of communicate with me to find what I didn't like, i.e., taste, texture, smell, and then to get creative and just try different ways to encourage and empower me to find that out. So, one last talk for other days, because I swear to you, my most toxic trait is thinking I have an answer for everything. It's just I can't necessarily do it all. It's a matter of like connecting to the people, because again, as much as people want to think that like I am a know-it-all or identify me as such, I know enough to know sometimes I don't want to get myself in trouble. So I should talk to people that have demonstrated abilities to do these things. I tell you what, i.e., you know, app builders, if I had different friends, if I was able to make the connections, but everybody gatekeeps and we're all like, oh, it's just our peer reviews and yada yada yada. And I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm an Aquarius, jack of all trades, mistress of none. Who flippin' knows? But as I say, just all of the things. So, funnily enough, I was going to title this video, Got an Hour? Permit me to change your mind, change your life. I was actually going to say change your life because, it's very big and profound or what have you. Very grab your hooks. But manipulation. Manipulation ain't bad. Look, ooh, I'm manipulating this photo. But again, how we do what we do matters. And the best part is with every breath, we can change that. All of the experiments, right and wrong are absolutely subjective. I get it. Popular opinion. What is that though? Seriously, it's not necessarily true as much as we want to think otherwise, because again, the three humanities, nothing is actually the same. We're only ever in kind of resonance because of those crazy vibratory atoms. So we would do well when in resonance to sort of breathe through things and, just try and understand that we're understanding until we're not. Funnily enough, we agree until we disagree. Once upon a time, I posted a video. Good Lord, I need to stop. Okay, the universe is like, girl, wrap it up. I posted a story or an article on Elephant Journal, and I think it was, oh gosh, I don't even remember because I lost my train of thought. But it really was. I lost my train of thought. And it's funny because, building your brand or what have you. I'm not trying to build a brand. I'm a human. You're a built human. Just, I tell you what, all of the things. So, what are you doing to change the world? How are you changing the world? Never forget every cruelty, every kindness, just what you're making, everything. You, man, you are incredible. You're in the driver's seat and change your life. It is as simple and as difficult as changing your choices, changing your views, changing your heart, changing your mind, changing your beliefs. And who knows what you're capable of. I get it. These times, man, there is so much going on, right? Every choice you can contribute. Not Googling as much, the libraries, just learning to be patient, to be understanding. It sounds silly, but you have to be adaptable. Darwin said it. It is not the smartest nor the strongest, it is the most adaptable. So it's just about always finding that equilibrium. We as humans, we see the patterns, we get used to the patterns, but that's part of agency. That's where we can reclaim our power. Depressed, disenfranchised, take back your power. Do what feels good for you, but also be mindful of how you're affecting everybody. Every cruelty, every kindness. The parable of the long spoon. The only difference between heaven and hell is the people with the long spoons either trying to feed themselves and starving or trying to feed each other and realizing that that is the only way everyone can eat. I'm loving you this day and always because I can, and that's my choice. And it's wild because in doing that, the ways that I tell you, as John Lennon would say, the establishment will try and pull your beard and flick your face and spit at you and just try and piss you off to prove it and make you snap and just always test that. I'm tested and I fail. And I'm always going to try to work to the grace and to all of you, my brothers and sisters, to just try and be of service. Even if I have to literally just stay in my little hidey hole and talk to people, talk at people. Demon hand, Buddha heart. It's going to be the heaven or hell fire that we are all making it with how we choose to respect ourselves and others and the carbon footprint of how we are, acting on this earth. So, I love you. Love yourselves, drink water, get rest, nurture yourselves, and carry on because you are changing the world.